Hi everyone, I'm Toby, this is Mark, and welcome to Wellness on Screen.
Actually, we're both licensed therapists and brothers. And we're here to look at some of the most popular shows on TV and how they get mental health right.
That's right.
Sometimes even better than textbooks.
Indeed. This series of episodes, we're looking at the psychology of Ted Lasso. This specific episode is attachment avoidance and the power of showing up. If you've ever seen the show, you know that it's sort of this mixture of like raw emotion and humor and characters that you just fall in love with. That's what we're looking at today. We're going to show some clips because you haven't seen the show.
I haven't seen the show. I haven't seen any of the clips that we're about to preview, so you'll be getting my real-time reactions.
I love that real-time reaction business. So this is episode 2 in this series. In our first episode, if you remember, we looked at panic and how that played out in the show, and we gave some tips for how people can kind of deal with that type of intense emotion. In this episode, we're going to be looking at clips from season 2. So be aware, if you're still working on this series, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Okay, so Mark, to give you a little context here on where we are in the show, we're in season 2. Ted has brought on a therapist to work with the team. Some folks are having a really hard time. In this clip, he's going in for the first time. You can see he's uncomfortable, but I'm going to say nothing else from there. Let's roll the clip and have a watch.
Hey, Doc.
Hi, Ted. Come in.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I want to thank you again for helping me out with that little hiccup the other night. I'm actually feeling a lot better, so I don't even know if this is necessary, really.
Make yourself comfortable.
Okay.
I like how she's low key. She can sense his discomfort, but she's low key.
Yeah, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Hey, I'll go on the couch. Here we go. How about that? Hey, who am I? Don Draper, right?
Here's the jokes.
Formal. I want to put my shoes on there. Well, you know what? I'll lay down, right? Here we go. Yeah, this.
Oh, you can just feel his like.
Yeah.
Like this, like a couple kids on their top bunk.
Using a little humor to try and.
Here we go. This is what we'll do. Just classic.
If he had one of those things where he could flip upside down, he'd be getting into it and getting himself upside down.
This under here, that'll help even out my spine. And oh yeah, that feels nice. Okay. Now what do I do here? Do I just that's like I'm going down a water slide or something like that, like a luge. Here, it's a little too cascady, isn't it? Okay. How about here? Let's do this. All right. How's this? This good?
Probably sitting is best.
Sure.
I like her calm this.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, there you are. Quite intimate here, close quarters. You know what it's like? It's like we're on an episode of The Sopranos without all the gratuitous violence, which is a good thing. But a lot less.
No space for the session even to start. He just won't even allow it.
Yeah, he's really pouring the humor on to try and offset his tension and nervousness.
Yeah? Okay, good. Very agreeable fella, just doing his thing.
Oh my goodness.
You got tissues over there, huh?
Yes, tissues.
Yeah. What are those for?
Sometimes it gets a bit emotional in here.
I like
Not
how
always,
she's staying
but
calm,
Yeah.
not trying to
Sometimes
over
people
control the
just need-
situation.
Yeah, they do, yeah. Yeah, we both agree with you. Yeah, my hay fever's been pretty good over here. Must be a low pollen count in the UK, so.
I mean, it's almost like the humor is a shield, It's
Yeah.
like he's kind of protecting
It's
himself
really
with all
rambling
these
When do we start?
all these comments.
We've already started. We started when you entered in here.
What? Oh, shoot. Well, I'm sorry about that. I feel like I've wasted a bunch of our time already, with all the couch shenanigans and just, noticing your accoutrements and stuff. It's,
Ted,
but, yeah.
don't worry.
Yeah, well, of course. Not worried at all. Yeah.
Just kind of cut right through it with that. He needed to be reassured. Yeah. So here it comes.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want to talk about?
Why don't you tell me what happened the other night?
Yeah, I don't want to do this.
Out he goes.
Yeah. He was just, really restless.
Yeah, he just couldn't sit still. He just couldn't.
A lot of psychological stress manifesting as body movement. There can be this tremendous amount of psychological pressure and strain. That's a little bit of what we see there is restlessness, nervousness.
I mean, to me, it was like he was sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He was like kind of in two lanes. There was this part of him that wanted to be there and maybe get started with this. Then there's other part of him that was ready to bolt. And we didn't see exactly there him starting to have that panic. But I think if we had Ted here in the room with us right now and we asked him, hey, what was that? Why did you bolt right then? I think he was starting to feel that surge of anxiety and was worried he was going to have a panic attack. And as we'll see later in some later clips, this is really linked to how much he's holding back and how much he's holding in. And I think I see this so often that people are using humor as a shield, like, it said earlier, humor as a shield to kind of deflect and to protect themselves. The fear is, if I let this out, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Am I going to crumble completely?
That emotional red line, after a certain point of time, he had to just leave.
He was there, but he just couldn't take the risk to step into that session like fully. What are you seeing?
Well, it's real. For a lot of people, they suppress their experiences or they repress their emotions and they don't really know how to deal with it. And, for him, obviously, this was an overwhelming experience and the thought of being vulnerable was too much.
What I find as a therapist is I really like to be calm and engaging where they feel like I'm going to be a safe person. So I'm kind of breaking the ice. And so I felt like Dr. Sharon did that there, And so even though he split, she's laid the foundation, okay. And he can come back around later.
When you see someone and they're nervous and stressed, I think you want to take your time and not just dive right into therapy.
The therapy is that. That is the therapy, right? Like,
right.
Creating that space, that rapport, that sense
meeting
of
them
connection.
where they're at, and really, if you see that they're nervous or they're stressed, then definitely it's not the time to just jump right in.
Yeah.
You
telling me your darkest secrets. That's not the moment. That's not the question for that. So you can almost tell that the smile is like a mask, right? He's got that there. It's his sort of like calling card. It's a smile. It's a little humor. It's a little like funny look, and it's his way of kind of getting through these things one instance after another. And it's so engaging. I mean, you just can't help but fall in love with this guy.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna love it when you actually watch the show.
I mean, just that one clip was just so captivating. That's such an intense turning point for so many people, their first therapy session.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's his first therapy session.
I mean, we don't know, but it seems like it because he's not too hot on the idea.
He doesn't look like he's got a lot of experience.
Yeah, he's intimidated. I think he's got that sort of like, that mindset sort of where I don't need it. I never need that. I don't need that help.
Denial.
Which is interesting because he's a coach, right? And I think of us in our work as coaches. An athlete needs a coach to perform optimally, and sometimes we need coaches in terms of our mental health to help us perform optimally, or to get through different kinds of problems that just seem unfixable or like
unsurmountable.
Yeah, or like we're drowning in those things,
Yeah.
I think in Ted's case, I mean, I'm curious what you think about this too, but I think in Ted's case, this is his way of keeping it all together, but he's functioning at such a high level, I mean, he's at such a high level in his career and holding it all together. In this circumstance, trying to hold it all together means he's missed the opportunity to have sort of a meaningful interaction here, Like I'm sure I know it turns out to be meaningful. Right here, he's had to skip out,
Right.
And so if that's playing out in his relationships with everybody, he's on that superficial level because he's always trying to hold it in, not willing to make himself vulnerable.
Holding it all in, it might work for a while, but when you don't talk about your problems, you also don't get the benefit of finding solutions that other people can help you find.
Right.
And there's a straw eventually that breaks the camel's back. And I think that's what we're seeing here.
Right. And we saw those in the previous episode that we did when we saw him having those panic attacks. Explosions of anxiety, of emotion.
Absolutely.
Unbearable levels of emotion.
Yeah, just overwhelmed.
Right. But it also
Overwhelmed.
makes you afraid. Anyone that's ever had a panic attack, you're always afraid to have another one. In fact, this happened to me, that I was in a big box store and I had an anxiety attack and I didn't want to go back there anymore. What? It's not gonna trigger an attack to be there, but in my mind it might, And so he's had these already. He's in the therapist's office, but better be careful.
Yeah, facing the demons.
Yeah. So Mark, how do you know when it's time to open up? Like, how do you know that?
If what you've been trying isn't working, or if you've been doing your best and you can't sleep at night, tired, you can't focus at work, you can't make it through the workday, or you're feeling depressed or anxious, this is when it crosses the line into kind of functional impairment. The anxiety or the panic or the depression is so great that it's really interfering in a person's ability to live their life, right? If you really can't be emotionally present for your kids, if you can't, focus through the meeting at work.
And I think too, some people are like, we're afraid. I remember being this way. We're afraid we're going to show weakness, or that if we start talking about that it's going to be like a tidal wave of emotions. It might be hard, but we got to get it going. We got to get it started. And maybe we have to be really careful about who we talk to. It's got to be a safe person.
But
it doesn't have to be counseling. It just has to be,
Nobody should try and go through life alone. That's a sad tragedy, There's people out there that are suffering needlessly, where if they went to get, if they were able to go to therapy and talk to someone in a private setting, they could get it off their chest, they could connect dots, they could develop insight and awareness. And that's really the crown jewel of, talking about stuff is, you find solutions.
I mean, what have you got to lose? Really, what have you got to lose?
Yeah.
It's not really about, waiting until you find the perfect time. It's really, I think, more about being tired of feeling like this anymore. Don't wait for the fear of opening up to go away. You just have to decide that the pain and suffering of holding it all in, that's far greater than what you're going to get letting it out. All right, so let's get on to the next clip. So for some context, Ted has just witnessed one of his star players and his dad have this sort of blow up in the locker room. And I think that it's really sort of brought to the front of his mind, his relationship with his own dad. He decides he's going to call Dr. Sharon. Okay, you ready for this? Let's do it.
Hello, Coach Lasso. Sorry about the loss. Oh, and thank you for the new bicycle. It's very kind, but unnecessary. Coach Lasso?
My father killed himself when I was 16. That happened to me and to my mom.
I'm so sorry, Ted.
And look, I don't know if that's where maybe some of my issues stem from.
No, it definitely is.
Right, no, that makes sense.
Do you want to talk about it now?
No, not right now. I need to get back inside of the team. I just wanted you to know.
Okay. Thank you for telling me, Ted.
Powerful.
Please call if you need me.
I will.
What do you think?
Turning point for sure. He really disclosed something incredibly personal.
Life defining.
I mean, yeah, he just shared something unbelievably personal. So that was a first.
Well, he doesn't want to talk about it because it's so powerful and so deeply, deeply painful, yet he can't hold it any longer. This is the crazy or very cool thing about counseling is when Dr. Sharon sort of just is there, just is present in this first session, and she's just calm, and she, extends this space, makes this space available to him. Not very long afterwards, there he is on the phone, right? And he's ready to let it out.
It's almost like the weight of that trauma gets unbearable. Over time, they start to realize, hey, maybe I should share some of this. Maybe it would help to take some of this out of my backpack that I've been carrying it around.
Does it shake you up when people talk like that? When they tell you big things like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you show it? Do people see it?
Yeah, you can't help. You're a human being, right? So you can't help but be incredibly moved. One of the things about therapy is people share these really intimate, incredibly powerful stories. And
I used to be afraid to like, I would look like, well, actually I had two fears. One, that I was going to do the boo-hoo-hoos, like the sloppy cries. And I never did. That was good. But what I've kind of learned to do is just to be present. And if it's sad and it touches me and I feel sad, I just allow that to flow. And, I don't want to be in a position where they have to comfort me. It's not supposed to work that way. I also feel like it's okay to be just authentic and in the moment with them. It doesn't happen that often anymore. We've probably the same with you. We've heard so many different stories now that, we're accustomed to it. So that's it. He drops this big intro to this terrible thing that's happened, but he doesn't have time to talk about it. Right. He's chosen to do it in a moment where he can just drop it and run.
Yeah.
Seems like we're seeing these patterns, right?
Well, he's starting to take steps.
Right.
Right.
But he's
baby
starting
steps.
to take the steps. That's right.
Yeah, baby steps.
And I feel like there's lots of potential here for now. This is like that moment in which we see in counseling, right? Where you feel like, okay, this is our breakthrough moment. And from here forward, I've got this person's trust. This person feels safe. We should be able to get some good work done. And if nothing else, if we just get the story told, right? The person just can tell the story. Like you said earlier, it's just like this weight.
Yeah. It's not a secret anymore.
Right. Right.
It's something that has been brought out, put on the table.
Right.
It's not something they're hiding deep down inside. It's not some secret that they can't talk about.
Right.
Just getting it out is therapy.
Yeah. What I also want, people that are watching these videos to know is that counseling isn't about us fixing people. So much of it is about just listening and in some ways being a cheerleader. I think of myself as a cheerleader / coach at times. People come in with all this insight, all these life lessons, all this wisdom, and we're just listening and reassuring and encouraging and validating, and sometimes, and for so many, that's enough. There's a lot else of other things we can do, especially when we're talking panic. There's so many good skill sets that you can learn and help unwind that whole experience.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
In therapy, people come and then they have this narrative that they've been telling themselves about their own life, right? And our job is to help them develop a much more fair, kind narrative, because people are just so hard on themselves.
Core beliefs get developed, I am a bad person, or I should have told my dad I loved him more, or if I would have been a better kid, my parents wouldn't have split up. That's another thing that we do that can be so helpful, is help people kind of hold these up and go, wait, what? That's what I think about myself? That's an idea that has burned into my consciousness or my awareness? No, I need to take that and I need to look at that and, wait, is that really true? Maybe I can take the eraser, rewrite this a little bit.
Absolutely.
Or maybe just release some of that. I do actually 100% of my sessions on the phone. Well, maybe 99% of my sessions on the phone. And since COVID, it's all been telehealth. And people would say originally, oh, well, you have to see people. You have to be able to have them in the same room. You got to look at the body language and this and that. But you know what I noticed? And I don't know if you see this. I actually noticed that people are more willing to talk about some of these things with the distance than they would be if we were face to face.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And especially with teens, it seems like these more serious things will come out.
I think people love it. I really do. I think people love it. And I didn't know how I would like it. It definitely works really, really, really well for some people, not for all, but definitely there's a great many people who, like, they just feel relaxed. And there's something about talking over the phone that allows them to feel comfortable.
And it's a good opportunity to just mention for folks that there are crisis lines that anyone can call. Because your therapist, let's be honest, it's going to be tough to reach your therapist in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, you can call 988. That's a crisis helpline. There's a variety of other crisis helplines out there as well. It's easy as just looking on your phone. Those can literally be lifesavers. 988, anywhere in the United States, gets you a crisis counselor.
And of course, if you ever feel like you might be a danger to yourself or someone else, you call 911.
988 is free. You just call. Okay, so let's set up this last and final clip. And I have to tell you, Mark, that you might think that this show is all about like mental health and counseling and all that stuff. But oh my gosh, this show is so richly full of like fun and humor and swearing and relationships. It's a great show. But we're talking in this episode about attachment, avoidance, and the power of showing up. In our first episode, we talked about these attacks that Ted had had. Now we're seeing that they're linked to his father's suicide. We're seeing that he is taking the risk to work with Dr. Sharon. And then just a couple of episodes further down, we have him sitting down at a press conference. And the reason this comes up is everybody's like, oh, why did he run off the field? Which was on our last episode, right? Why did he run off the field? Looked like he was sick. Was he really sick? And then it comes out that he'd actually had a panic attack, which everyone treated as though this was some humiliating fact, right? So here he is in front of the press, ready to deal with this question. He couldn't a minute ago sit in the room with Dr. Sharon. Here he is in front of the press.
Okay, y'all. Hey, settle down, y'all. Okay, easy now. Easy. Hey, y'all, come on, calm down. All right. Look, well, right at the cricket bat here, I want to address the article written by our good friend, Mr. Trent Krim from the. Or rather, I want to share with y'all the truth about my recent struggles with anxiety. And, well, my overall concern about the way we discuss and deal with mental health in athletics.
I love this when I saw this. So Mark, that's a short clip, but it really shows sort of this pivot or this shift that we are tracking here in our show, where he's moving towards embracing this. And talk about showing up. I mean, here he is at a press conference ready to say, hey, it's time to talk about how we look at anxiety and how we think about anxiety in sports.
Right.
What do you think?
He's really confronting the issues. It's kind of like when you have anxiety, you're not used to going into the water.
Yeah.
But
Run.
But when you start talking about it, you start, going to counseling, or, you're willing to journal about it or whatever. We talk about it, we swim a little further from the shore. And
we're not as
before
afraid.
we know, we can swim with confidence.
Yeah. I always like to tell people, and I like to do this myself, because not uncommon that I'm driving and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if I go this way, I had this really scary thought that I might crash. Oh, but if I go this way, I might crash. And then I have to say to myself, okay, whoa, what's happening here? This is really a sort of a trick that I use, not really a trick, but a strategy that I use. When I catch myself having these sort of exaggerated fears, I go, okay, rather than being on autopilot, I try to click myself off autopilot and go, oh, that's a big fear for a left turn or a right turn. Okay, I'm going right.
Right. You want to be an outside observer.
Yeah, but I also want to lean in. I don't want to lean out. Like, if I lean out, it's like, oh, maybe I need to stop. No, I don't need to stop. I'm just going to lean into this. It's okay that I have that anxiety.
What we want to do is separate ourselves from that emotion and be an outside observer and just kind of label it and let the clouds, let the river flow. I'm not going to be in the river treading water. I'm going to be on the bank, on the side.
And actually, this theme of this show is the power of showing up. And I think that really applies when we're anxious. It doesn't have to be showing up at the press conference. We're not all going on Oprah, you know what I mean, to talk about how hard our lives are or whatever. That's something else. But the power of showing up for me in this context means I'm anxious. Okay, let me be present. It's not instant. We all want it to be instant, right? Oh, is there a light switch? I can turn off the anxiety. There's no light switch. But we're either going, oh my God, and we're accelerating it or amplifying it, or we're going, and we're letting it come down. So in your experience, Mark, how long does it take for people to make the kind of progress that we're seeing Ted make here? I mean, he's afraid to get started, and then, it's TV land, but how long does it take?
It just varies by person. Some people feel more comfortable opening up. Some people it takes longer. It depends what they've been through.
Also, how intolerable the emotions are they're coping with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just takes time. Everybody's therapy works differently. Everybody's timeline is different.
And we haven't talked exactly about this, but there's so many great books about self-help type books where you're hearing other people's stories that you can relate to. We can all relate to Ted Lasso. whether you've had a panic attack or not, you can relate to how difficult it is, what he's going through. And books and their stories, these self-help books and stories. And we're going to have some resources in the article that we have related to this episode. If you're interested, you can go follow the link in the description below, and we'll have some titles for you, some additional resources, some ideas for showing up, dealing with being vulnerable, dealing with those first steps to getting involved in the counseling process, or really not even the counseling process, just that growth, working through something that's big like that. Hey, Mark, this has been fun. 2 episodes in, you know, I'm actually really digging this. I love doing this with my brother, and so the 3rd episode that we've got set here is our sort of as we launch this, the Psychology of Ted Lasso. And by the way, we've got some other great shows that we're going to be looking
forward to it.
We're going to look a little bit at a couple of other characters. It's going to be really interesting.
I look forward
to it. Yeah, no, I totally look forward to how you're going to react to these. So, okay, as we wrap up today, I want to thank everybody. If you liked our show today, leave a comment. We'd love to hear your take on these things. Is there a character in Ted Lasso that really resonates with you? Are the themes that we've been discussing resonating? Feel free to hit that like button and
subscribe.
Yeah, and subscribe. And last thing, don't forget, the best way out is always through. And that is, the best way out is always through.
Is always through.
It's always through. Yeah.
Point of the count.
Right. So the last thing we want to say is, wait, how are we doing this again? And don't forget, yeah. And don't forget, the best way out is always through.
Always through.
Okay, let's try it one more time.
Okay.
And last thing, don't forget, the best way out
is always through.
Okay, there you go.
All right.